are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michelle. You haven't heard my voice in a while, but I'm glad to be here with you today as we go through some Forethought curriculum. You have Michelle as the Forethought Guru Nerd, and I've been doing this for a long time, and Joel is helping out. Oh, he added himself as a nerd too. Yeah, well, we're nerds. That's okay, because I get excited about this kind of stuff. So thanks, Joel, for helping out with questions. If you have questions, there is a little section in your GoToWebinar control panel that says questions. So you can type in there and we will do our best to answer those. We are going to go in, I'm going to stay on track with the agenda. And so if you ask a question that isn't quite on that topic right then and there, we're going to wait a little bit. And if it's on completely something else, we're going to go wait till the end for that. So Joel's going to help with those questions. So again, thanks for joining us today. It is August 23rd, 2017. Either you've started school or getting ready to start school. So I know things are crazy right now, but isn't this the fun time of year? So we get to start new. All right, we're going to go over a lot of important things today. Forethought curriculum management. First, kind of just go over some big overarching ideas and things to know about Forethought, just to make sure we're all on the same page. And then we're going to move into the course tree and managing the standards. There are more things about Forethought, but not for this particular webinar. We're not going to get into activities today, and we're not going to get into lesson planners. I'll show you at the end where you can get more information on those topics. And if there's a lot of folks that are begging for another one, we can do another webinar soon on any of those other topics. So just be sure to let us know. So let's go into Forethought curriculum. All right, just to lay the groundwork. Oh, I forgot one thing. In your control panel for GoToWebinar, I have already made the slides into a PDF. You can go and open those if you want. They're in the little section. You can download those. They're called Forethought Curriculum Webinar Slides. It's a PDF. Don't print it. It has tons of color. Don't waste your ink on that. If you want to open that up and have it next to what I'm showing you, that's never a bad thing. So that is available for you there. You are welcome for the slides, even though I'm not supposed to be looking at questions. Okay, doke. All right, so just a little bit of understanding if you're new to Forethought or if you're an oldie buddy goodie and has been doing this for a long time, just a few things to make sure everybody understands. Nobody can delete or edit another person's individual personal lesson planner. If Teacher Sally has a lesson planner, no one can touch that lesson planner. Only somebody that's doing something bad could go in there and do that. And that's somebody that has a lot of rights and a lot of roles in Eduphoria. But nobody's doing that. Nobody needs to do that. Nobody can delete anything or edit anybody else's. Now, that's different from a team planner. We know that. Shared planner, some other things going on there. But we're talking about just an individual lesson planner. So all the things we're going to do today really don't affect the actual lesson planner for the teacher. Meaning, if I go in and I change the TEKs, I change the standards, I reorganize, I rename things, nothing is going to change in those lesson plans. It's not going to change from the previous year. If a teacher has 10 years of lesson plans in here, whatever you do or I do to the curriculum, it will not affect what they have typed in their lesson plans for the past 10 years. Okay? So keep that in mind, that what we're going to do today is really talking about the curriculum pane. And as my old joke, I will bring it back and it's going to live again. It's the curriculum P-A-N-E, not the P-A-I-N. Ba-dum, boom, chink. Okay. Oh, y'all miss me. So we're talking about this thing over here on the right-hand side of the screen of the lesson planner. So if you have seen the lesson planner ever, it's all this information over here on the right. What we're doing today is figuring out how we can update, edit, change, whatever you want to do over here in this curriculum pane on the right-hand side, so that when my teachers go in and click on English Language Arts, what do they see over here? Do they see the 5th grade English Language Arts TEKs? Are they the right ones? Are they the current ones? Are they the most up-to-date ones? Or do they come in here and see a big old mess of a whole bunch of stuff like this? And if they do, I'm going to teach you how to clean this up so it's better for teachers. So, no matter what you do on the curriculum side, it does not affect what is ever typed in here in the lesson plans. I can go back 5 years. It doesn't change that. I can't change that. No curriculum manager can change that. So just so we're all on the same page. All right. The next thing is I want to just make sure everybody knows about the roles that you have and that you need to do the work that we're talking about today. There is one role called the curriculum manager in Forethought. This person can do everything relating to curriculum. You can add courses, you can edit courses, you can move them, you can delete them. You can do lots of stuff. This is a very powerful role. And depending on the size of your district, this should not be given to 1 million people. A few people that need that access should have the curriculum manager role. Remember, you can go into your roles and rights, export that roles spreadsheet to see who actually has curriculum manager. You might want to clean that up if you haven't. It's a good time of a year to do that. So this person can do everything. But what if you need somebody to manage some things, but they don't need to have access to the whole shebang? You have something called delegates, and this is actually within Forethought. Within Forethought, as a curriculum manager, you have the ability to assign delegates. You find the person, find the user. These are some examples. And then you add the courses that you want that person to manage. So Everett here is managing 6th, 7th, and 8th grade ELA. And only will Everett be able to edit the curriculum side of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and only those courses. So if you have specialists that are doing certain things, only working with certain courses, and you don't want to necessarily give them the full curriculum manager role, you can give them a delegate role where you add the courses that you want them to have, and then make sure you check the boxes here for those courses and click that Set Rights button. And you want to make sure they have these options down here, because it's kind of like giving roles and rights, but actually doing it within Forethought. This is like giving somebody a role of delegate and giving them those rights here. But you have to do it by individual person and individual courses. If you want them to have all of them, just give them curriculum manager. All right. So again, that's in Forethought, assign delegates, and you can give individual courses to the. Now, this is not for teachers necessarily. This is for somebody that wants to edit or modify the curriculum. I'm talking about the right side of the screen, the curriculum pane only. It's not about lesson planning. It's about who can edit what's over here on the right side of the screen. Sometimes in districts it is teachers, but it does not need to be a teacher that's only using the lesson planner. All right. One more thing and then we'll kind of stop for questions, Joel. So the first thing we want to talk about is your Forethought course tree. Every district has your own course tree. When you first started using Eduphoria, whether it was 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 12 years ago, you were given a basic tree. And we'll show it in just a second. It is your district's tree. It's not anybody else's tree. It is the individual district. The district is responsible for managing it, editing it, making it your own. Every district is different here in our state, as we all know. Yes, there's lots of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. So everybody's curriculum can be a little bit different. One district down the street may offer architecture classes, and then the district down the other street has no business with those. They don't even offer those. So you have a lot of flexibility in your tree. We want you to make it your own. One last thing to remember before we actually go into the tree and start learning how to manage it and change it and edit it and all that good stuff is this tree that we're getting ready to show and talk about, it affects lesson planners. But here's the other thing, and this is the bottom right here, this last bullet here. What we're getting ready to do does affect Aware. It does. So I want you to make sure that if you're doing some things, you pay attention. If y'all are using Aware, which I'm sure most of you are, what you do in Forethought also affects the standards associated with Aware. For example, if I've got this course right here called English Language Arts and Reading, grade 5, this course is actually the same course that is shown in Aware when I go in to make a 5th grade ELAR test. And these standards, these TEKs, these student expectations, I'm going to use the word standards as more of a generic term. These standards are the same standards that you associate with test items. So just like when a teacher says, oh, we're going to work on analyzing the organizational pattern of text, they double click that, it goes into their lesson plans, beautiful. I make a test, we're going to make a test, and those questions and items are going to relate here to 11C. This all comes from the same database. So the work you do in Forethought sometimes affects Aware, especially when we're talking about these standards and your state standards. So keep that in mind, that what you're doing is going to affect Aware. So if you're not the assessment person and you're the curriculum one, make sure that you remember that what you're doing could affect assessment. So we'll talk in a little more detail in a second here. All right, Joel, anything before we get going?
We haven't had anything come in except just this moment.
Okay. I see the question. I'm going to go ahead and read it if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
If a test was created in Aware and standards were associated with that assessment and the standards are updated, will it update in Aware? Great question. And we'll get into that a little bit more when I get into the standards. The thing is anything in the past, it doesn't affect anything in the past. If you gave a test last year and it had the current, the right set of TEKs, nothing in the past is going to change. Whatever I do here and in the course tree and when I'm working in the course, it doesn't affect anything in the past. So keep that in mind. You got to take those tests, and hopefully you archived all of your tests this summer with our cool mass test editor or mass test archiver. So nobody can go, oh, we got it. We don't want to do them one by one anymore. So anywho, that is an important thing to know, is that now if we go in and we're going to update the TEKs, it's going to update for new tests that you create. Let's get in there first, and I think it'll make some more sense as we get in there. All right. All right, Joel, I'm going to go ahead and keep going here, and then we'll pause in just a little bit for some of those ones that I see coming in, but I'm trying not to look so I don't get distracted. Okay. So this is your tree. Forethought is yours. And I'm saying that for kind of a bigger reason. When it's your responsibility as a district, we're going to do what we can to help, but we can't do everything because every district is different. Keep that in mind. All right, here we go. If anybody has ever been to any of my trainings before, we talk about Forethought tacos. The best way to learn anything is to have some kind of connection to it, and everybody knows food, so we're going to connect these ideas to food. So there are 3 steps when you're building curriculum. When you're managing the tree and all this good stuff, there's really 3 steps. And if you go in this nice order, it's a lot simpler and it's a lot easier to understand. You have your course tree. That is your shell. That is the thing that holds all of the courses. It's going to hold all the curriculum. It's going to hold all the activities and all the fun stuff there. So we got our shell, and we're going to focus on building and making sure our shell is how we want it to be. And then number 2 is manage the learning standards. Now, notice that's in quotes there because standards can mean lots of different things. We're going to focus today on the state standards that are available. And then the 3rd step, which we're not going to get into today, is about adding activities. I have a couple of resources I'll show at the end about activities. So we're going to focus on the shell and the meat today. All right, here we go. So your course tree. The course tree, just a couple things, and I'm going to move over into Forethought. Only the curriculum manager can manage the tree. It's your shell, okay? Another way to look at it I've used before is thinking about binders. Back in the day, we used to make curriculum binders. So we might make a 5th grade binder, and in that binder, we'd title it 5th grade. And in that binder, we'd have 5th grade math, 5th grade ELA, 5th grade science, 5th grade social studies, and we'd hand it to those teachers. We're doing the same kind of thing today, but our shells are going to be those courses. We're going to focus on how they're organized and the titles. And I'm going to also show you how to build your trash course because a lot of people have been asking about that. So I'm going to go into Forethought. I'm logged in as a curriculum manager, and I'm going to stick with the Manage tab here. The first step, your taco shell, is your manage your course tree. Your course tree is yours. What you do with it affects what your teachers and your staff are doing in Forethought, and this tree also shows up in Aware. When you go in to make a test in Aware, one of the first things it asks you is, what course are you connecting this to? And you drill down through this tree to get the set of TEKs or the state standards that you need for that test. It's the same thing here. When teachers go in to set up their lesson planner, they go in through this course tree to get the courses they need to set up their lesson planner, to say, this is what I teach. This course tree is where you actually build the course tree, organize your course tree, and make sure all the titles of the courses are what you need it to be. First of all, one quick tip in Forethought, anytime you want to rename something here, you simply double click it. So here's an example right here that we want to go to. Let's say I've got pre-kindergarten right here. Let's say we call it something else. Or let me find something else. Let's say we call it ELAR. I don't want to say English Language Arts and Reading, which is a silly example, but that's okay. I put my mouse on that, select it once, and then I double click it, and that becomes editable. So I could literally change this to ELAR. Click off of it, and it says, are you sure you want to rename it? The answer is yes. Simple as that. If you don't call it, if you want to change this to, if you go into, let's say, 7th grade social studies, if you want to name this Texas history, why not? Double click off of it, and you click OK. Your job is to make your course tree match the curriculum and all the courses that are available in your district. But you're focusing on the organization and the titles. So here's a few things that you might have to do for your course tree. Sometimes people have an intermediate school. It's as simple as this. If you want to reorganize this, you can. We give you this basic elementary, middle, and high. That's just a generic set of what traditional simple courses, how they're organized. If you look at this one says demo courses. You can make your own folder. If you want another folder for something else, you can. Let's focus on how you manage it right here. So let's say I want to make an intermediate folder. I can actually click on I'm going to click on the demo because this is actually the name of my district. You can double click this and name it your district if you want. Nobody ever actually sees it, so it really doesn't matter actually. All right, so I want to make an intermediate folder. So I'm going to click on the main thing right here, which is the district, the highest level of the tree, and I'm going to click new folder. I can type in here. I'm going to do this intermediate school. Click save. And I'm going to cancel this because I want to stop adding new folders. And now it's there. I got these nice little buttons right here to move those guys up. Boom. Not so hard. So you've got your new, you've got your move up and down. And we're going to even play a little bit with the cut, copy, paste, but not too much today. And I'll go back in just a second and show you how to add that trash. If you wanted to, you could move, let's say fourth grade. Whoops, fourth grade was in the intermediate school. There's actually an easy way to do this. You can click, and I'm clicking on it, and I'm going to drag it down and put it on top of, well, maybe that didn't work. Oh, it says, are you sure you want to move fourth grade to intermediate? Yes, I do. Looky there. Intermediate's now in fourth grade. It's a drag and drop. Just be careful. Just kind of got to do it a little bit faster than I did. Because if I pause, it opens up the folder. So now I've got my intermediate school, fourth and fifth grade are there. Do you have to do this? No. Most teachers and people that are making tests know where fifth grade is, whether it's in elementary or middle. But you can move it however you want. All we're talking about is the shell right now. What is the shell titled, and how is the shell organized? This folder right here called Special Ed, this was something that may not come, I know it doesn't come with, like if you first are starting, but this district or my sample district decided to add one in here for special ed because there were some teachers that wanted to have a course in their lesson planner that had ELA standards that were all K through 4 so that they could use it for their lesson planners. It's a very flexible system. So you can be very creative with some of your teachers and with their flexibility. It really can meet the needs of a lot of different kinds of teachers. How I did this, I clicked on elementary, I clicked new folder, I named it special ed. Let's do this one, and we'll do that in intermediate too, but probably should spell it correctly. Now I've made it in the elementary folder. Well, guess what I can do? I can click on this and drag it into intermediate. And now it's now in special ed. If you ever get kind of confused and you're like, too many things are open and closed, always a good rule of thumb is to go back over and click on Manage Course Tree. And it refreshes your screen and it closes all the panes, the windows here, and all the tree branches. You can go from there. Now, couple more things, Joel, and then I have a feeling I'll pause for some questions here. This is where you can rename things, reorder things. Let's say you actually have a new course that you're offering in your district this year. So maybe in high school, we're offering something, an innovative course that's been approved, and we're just going to add that. I can add it into one of these other folders. Let's add it to technology. I'll just click on technology. All you do is click new course. It's just like adding a folder. I'm just going to call it innovative course. Save that, but then I also want to click cancel because I don't want to add any more. So now it's there. I can do the same thing, just like the folders, move them up and down. For your trash course, we use this little trash, and you can name it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Trash is not a very pretty name. But what this does is our trick for deleting, because you're going to have extra folders. You're going to have extra stuff in a minute. You're going to have those that you're not going to want to have. And instead of using the really long, awful delete system that's here, we have made up a trick for you. So what I did was create this trash course, not a folder, a course. Notice the difference. All I did was click on the district, clicked new course, named it trash, or you can, let's call this one recycle bin. Be more earth friendly here. Save and then cancel that. Now I've got my trash course. The next step, when we get to step 2, the meat, we'll talk about what goes in those. One last thing, actually 2 last things. If there are courses in here that you don't offer, just leave them alone. It's fine. If you want to make it clean and clean it all up, you can go in here and rename them or add the courses depending on what you use for your district. We're going to talk at the end about CTE courses because those are new. Some of the titles have changed. Some of the titles of the courses have changed. What I would recommend is coming in here, and of course I can't find one off the top of my head. Let's say this one. I don't remember this one. Pathophysiology. Why did I even pick that one? Let's say it's got a new name. I'll double click it. New name, of course. All that did was change the name of the course. It didn't change anything in it, just change the name. Again, I'm going to refresh here so I get back kind of my clean. Now, you can delete a course. You can also hide it. Hiding is safer. Hiding it, all it does is it doesn't allow teachers and staff to use that course anymore in Forethought or Aware. Hiding it is a little safer than delete. If you decide to delete, it's okay. Let's say I want to get rid of this one. Now, if I don't know what's in that course, I may not want to delete it. So it might just be better to hide. And all it does is change it to yellow and I don't see it in the next step. If you want to delete it, you click delete, it puts the little red X on it. And when I publish, it will go away. If it goes away, it does delete all the stuff that was in that course. Will it affect anyone's lesson plans from the past? Nope, but it will affect them moving forward. Okay, I'm going to stop. Take a breather. Joel?
Yes.
How we doing?
We're good. Oh, here we go. Now we have questions coming in now.
Okay.
Wanting to know how to delete shared teacher planners.
Yep, we're not doing planners today. I'll do that at the end if we have time.
When will the new CTETEKs be available?
We're doing that later today in this webinar.
Okay.
They already are available.
Those are our questions.
Okay, perfect. Okay. We'll talk about CT. So, last thing on your course tree, your shell, you make it your own. You can't really mess it up. You can always fix it. When you're finished with all of your work, you have to click publish. Or otherwise, on the next step, you won't see anything. You won't see any of the changes you just made. So like if I haven't published yet and I added this one, let's say intermediate and recycle, if I go to the next step, which is manage learning standards, you don't see them there. So I have to go back and make sure that I publish. The cool thing about it is it does have the date and time that the last time it was published. You want to be careful if there's more than one person working on this tree, especially at the same time. May not be the best idea. It's usually good for one person, or if one person's focusing on elementary, it's typically a one-person job to do this course tree. All right, so now we're going to go on to just a reminder here on your course tree. Only the curriculum manager, focusing on organization and the title of these courses. This is just the title. I showed you how to make the trash. There's a video in the online help on how to make a trash, and make sure you publish. All right, let's go into managed learning standards. It's the meat. These are your state standards. This is the folders and organization of curriculum. This is all the stuff that goes in the course. This is the stuff that is over here on the right side of the screen. in the curriculum pane for teachers. That's what we're going to talk about now. All right. So let's go ahead and go into Managed Learning Standards. So in your courses, if this was a course, I'm going to go to that fifth grade ELA. See, I renamed it. There, it changed it. This right here is what's in the course. The Standards tab, what's in here, and what shows, what's here is what shows for the teacher in their lesson planner. So this is fifth grade ELAR. I'm going to go over here to Forethought. And again, this is fifth grade ELAR. This is what I see. All right. So the goal is to have those standards in there so that the teachers can then view them while they're planning, and then they can double click those as they go into their lesson planner in this bluish grayish box so that it starts tracking those. Okay? That's the whole point of all of this. Let's talk about how you get the right standards in these courses. All that is done under Managed Learning Standards, and you go to your individual course. Let's go to a new one here. I think I may have, let me try this one right here. Nope, that's right. Okay, so let's say I have a course, and I'm going to use the CTE as an example, that we don't have the correct TEKs in here. We don't have the correct standards. So I'm going to open up and go into high school CTE, and let's go into, I'm going to just go into education training. So this one, human growth and development. Why did I pick that one? I don't know. Let's try a different one. How about instructional practices and education training? There we go. How do I know these are the wrong TEKs? Because they say 2010 and 11. In 2015, new TEKs were updated and approved and adopted by TEA. Apologies if there's anyone from Florida on the call. I apologize. I'm focusing on Texas, but it's the same concept. If they've updated the standards, whichever state you're in, you've got to look for the years. All right. I know that there are new ones for 2015. I also visit the TEA website a lot to see what's available there and which the newest version. So I've got some teachers teaching this topic. We want to get them the newest, latest, and greatest. So what we do is we go over here to the Options tab. The first thing it says is Select Associated Courses. You can scroll for hours, or you can search, which is what I'm going to do. So what best practices here on searching is I'm going to type a few letters. Don't hit enter. Oh, looky there. Isn't that beautiful? That's pretty nice because there's only one course with that same title. Now, you type art, you're going to get a long list of stuff. So you might have to be a little bit more specific. All right. So notice that this one, Instructional Practices and Education Training, is checked. It's the 2010 and 11. This is the new one. It's 2015. You always want to look for the year. If you're not sure which year you should be using, I literally go to the TEA website. If you want to email us to confirm, you can. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check the new. I'm going to uncheck the old. We don't need those old ones anymore. It's not going to get rid of that lesson plan from those teachers that teacher that's teaching this course. We don't need that anymore. We only need the new. So I check what I want. I uncheck the old. I click Select Courses. This is like your Save button. Screen blinks. And then I go over here to Import Standards from Courses. What this is going to do is it's going to copy the new 2015 ones into my course. I go back. I usually click on the name of the course is my faster way to do it. Looky there. There we go. We have our old ones still. It's not going to get rid of those old ones yet. It doesn't know to do that. It just knows to pull in the new ones. Let's try this again. And here's your little tip. Check, select, import. There's your CSI to remember how to do this. You have to do all three. Check, select, and import. Sometimes you just check and select. You don't always have to import. Import is an action. All right, so let's say, well, I'll just go to the Human Growth and Development one. Let's go in here and try to find this one. So I go to the Options tab. I'm going to search. Oh, that one's easy too, thank goodness. I'm going to uncheck the old. I'm going to check the new. I'm going to click Select, and I'm going to import. What mistakes do people typically make on this step is they forget to uncheck the old. And so guess what happens? Another copy of the old one comes in. No biggie. I'm going to show you how to get rid of those. No biggie. But now we have the newest, latest, and greatest. Looking at this Options tab, this is a list. Now, this is what's kind of fun. This is a list of every single set of state standards. This is for Texas. That's since 2000, I don't even know. There are lots of courses in here. I'm working on trying to see if we can get the old ones out of there so that they're not distracting anymore. That's easier said than done because they're still in the database. We just need to be able to say, don't show these old ones. That's definitely on a to-do list of somebody's. Notice these accounting, 2010 and 11. The ones that don't have any year are older than old. Don't pick those. Pick the ones with the most current year. You can also type 2015, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you do that, there's 277 new courses for CTE. Not necessarily new, but courses for CTE. That's a lot, my friends. That's a lot. I didn't make all those courses. There's Human Growth Development. I already checked that one. Just make sure you uncheck the old. So as much as you can type in there to try to find those, the helps, you can also type the year. Like, I don't think we have, I think there's only one 2016. Oh, there's a few. Social studies. Social studies, I don't know why those are in there like that. Sometimes this personal financial literacy is really the only course that's really new in 2016. So, yeah, we need to clean these up a little bit. But you can search by the year. You can really, the title is my fastest way to actually go in and search for those courses. Check, uncheck, select, import. All right. Before we go clean this one up, I want to talk about this box right here. This box affects aware. This is the thing. This is it. So let's say, just for fun, I go into math. Whew, there's a lot of stuff in here. I can go in, let's say I go in and for some reason, I don't know what I would be doing for this. You know what? I like to search by grade. I think that's easier than sometimes if I do grade space and then the number all the way K through 8, it actually gets to it a lot faster. These are the right TEKs. These are the wrong ones. What if I just checked that and I click select? I don't have to import. If I checked that old one, what happens is that when somebody goes in to make a test in Aware and they go in and make their item or they search by the TEKs, the student expectations, it's going to show those old ones. All because of this one little stinking checkbox. So the most important thing here is that what you check, what is checked and selected here is what shows for Aware. What you check and select and then import is what copies over into your course. My point is uncheck your old, check your new. If anybody, your assessment folks, they are like, well, these are the wrong TEKs. It's all because of here in Forethought. Okay, I'm going to breathe now. check, select, import. What's checked when you import, that's going to import into Forethought. This is our Forethought signal or sign. What's checked when you leave is what's used in Aware. Very important, my friends, very important. All right. Joel, I'm going to open up the questions a little bit here. Let's see.
I've answered quite a few of them.
Good
John Peters shared a document that's on the TEA website. I put it in the handouts.
Yes. It's a very good one. It's a good, the CTE crosswalk is excellent. There's also another really good one right here. On the TEAK, see, it's a shortcut for me. I get to live there. There is this neat little thing right here, right above where the chapters are. And you only see this, my friends, y'all. This is only after they are adopted and put into law. So right now, if we go into CTE, these are still the old ones. They don't even have the new ones officially here yet. I think that's next week when they're doing that. Even though they're supposed to be taught and they were adopted in 2015. This is like the law. Once it's in here, it's the law. That's one way to know. And it'll say, like if you go into, let's say, math, it says the year. So we're kind of matching what the TEA is doing on the site. All right. The other thing, that crosswalk is good, but there's also this little guy right here called TEAKs by Subject Area Review. This talks a lot, but this document right here, and Joel, if you maybe want to add that too, this is called the TEAKs and Instructional Materials Working Document, and they just updated it this summer. This document tells us when there's going to be new TEAKs and when they're supposed to be taught. It's going to take forever to open, but let me get that link to you, Joel, if you want to download that real quick, and then upload that in the handouts too. That'd be super.
I'll do that.
That'd be awesome. Now, there was one prior to this that was all the way back to 2005. And so every year we would check this document. This is another one right here. So like right now, we're getting the new ELA ones. All right. But they're just being reviewed. I think they've been approved, but notice they're not actually adopted until 1819, and we don't have to start using them officially, teachers don't, until 1920. Sometime between now and then is when we are able to purchase them from the company that puts them in the nice little format for us so that we can import them. But we don't have them right now because they're still an ugly PDF with lines through them. So this is what we use. Sometimes, like the CTE, we weren't able to get those until this summer. Even though they were adopted 2015, we weren't able to actually, they weren't available for us to purchase unless, I mean, we just weren't able to do it. So anywho, the crosswalk, let me go ahead and do that. Do we need to go into that? Oh, you've got that in there. The CTE crosswalk is good because it tells you what the new titles are. Thank you, John, for sharing that. Appreciate it. Okay. All right.
There's a question in there from Juan wanting to know how to get rid of units attached.
That's what we're going to do now. That's exactly what we're going to do now. Now we're going to talk about the trash. Good segue in there. All right. So I just focused on how do you get the new stuff in there? Now the question is, how do I clean this up? How do I make this? How do I get rid of the old? How do I get rid of anything in there that I don't want? Here's a lovely one. I love this one. This one's a mess. Okay. This course I've learned it's just kind of a mess here. There's a whole bunch of extra stuff that's not needed. And what I probably did was I probably checked and imported and clicked import more than once because I didn't trust it the first time. So commit to your click. Now I've got this mess and I want to clean this up so that teachers can have a better experience when they go into their course in their lesson planner. So I'm going to show you the old-fashioned way to delete, and then I'm going to show you the shortcut. First of all, I want to get rid of these old ones. The old way we used to have to delete was we had to click one by one. And then we could hold down the command key I just forgot what it is on a PC.
Shift.
Nope, not shift. It's not shift. That's the problem. Hang on.
Oops.
Command, control. Sorry. I can hold down my command or my control, and I click, but you got to be super duper careful. And then you have to hit delete, and then blah. I'm not even going to go show you that because it's painful. It's so painful. Look, I don't even know where they went. They're not even there. I mean, they're still there. There we go. Then once we publish it, they'll go away. Well, that's going to take you forever. So here's your trash, my friends. Here's the trash. I'm going to click on this folder. And watch me very carefully, because you have to do it exactly right. I want to get rid of this whole folder. So I click on it, and I'm going to go to these scissors, and I'm going to click cut. Now, I want to get rid of them, so I'm cutting them out, but I got to go paste them somewhere. You have to paste. It doesn't like it if you don't paste. So now I go into my trash course, and there's a folder in here. This is the key part. You have to click on any folder, I don't care which one, before you click the paste button. Now, you don't see it yet, so we just got to refresh. There they are. I'm going to do it again. Here's the old ones. I'm going to click. I'm going to cut. I'm going to go to my trash. I'm going to click on anything in there, and then I'm going to click paste. Did I do it? I guess I did. All right, they're gone out of here. If you don't have in your trash course or your recycle bin, like here's this new one I made, recycle bin. If you don't have a folder in here, it will not work. It can't paste to something blank. Think about if you're going, like if you're using PowerPoint or Google Slides like I am here, if you cut something and want to paste it somewhere else, you've got to have a place to paste it. You've got to be able to click. It's got to have something to paste it to. So all you have to do is in your trash course and your recycle, whatever you want to call it, you can just, it doesn't even matter. I tell people I named it here in the trash, click here, then click paste to remind people you've got to click on something before you can click paste. And we haven't even talked about publish, but that's how you do this. That's how you get rid of this. Now here's even a shortcut, my friends. For some reason, I have all these extra courses in here or sets of TEKs. I don't want all those. I can get rid of more than one at a time. Watch this. Click on my first one. Now I'm going to hold down my control or my command key if I'm on a Mac. Click, click, click. Don't drag. Don't drag your mouse. You've got to click very carefully. I can cut. I'm going to go over to my trash. Click, paste. Boom. Now I go back to my course here. Very nice. I only have one set of standards. All right. So good. Let's go see what it looks like for the teacher. So I have this course, Principles of Education and Training. I'm going to go in there and let's go into my lesson. I'm going to refresh this. And look, there it is, Principles of Education and Training. And I click on it. What? What is all this? Yeah, I just got rid of all this. Why is it still there? Who knows what I did wrong or what I didn't do yet? I did not publish. You have to publish the individual course. Once I publish, the date and time will update. Well, it should. Hang on. It's not refreshing fast enough for me. Now I go into Forethought. Let me refresh. Oh, I didn't like that. Let me start over again here. Here we go. Why is it not doing that? Hang on. Publish. Maybe it takes a few minutes. I thought it was more instantaneous than that, but maybe it's taking a few more minutes these days. Now, here's a little trick also. To preview what teachers will see, and I'm going to go back in just a second. When I click preview, this is what they should see. Just those standards, just the one set. I got rid of all the others. This little guy right here lets me see published versus draft. So if I don't remember if I published this course or not, go ahead and publish again. It doesn't hurt. This little guy, the preview, I can open and close it. This little guy tells me if it's the published version, which is what teachers see, or the draft. If you're making changes and you don't want teachers seeing it yet, you can keep it in draft mode, and then once you publish, it publishes that version. Okay, now I got to go back to this teacher. It's going to drive me crazy. Well, that's not cool. All right, I'm going to give it a few more minutes, see if it maybe takes a minute to update. All right. I know it's difficult for everyone to think about, oh my gosh, I have to go in here and update all these courses, especially for CTE. So keep in mind, I understand, but there's a lot of reasons why it has to be done by someone in the district, okay? All right, couple things on the learning standards. You've got your draft versus published. I just showed that. You've got to make sure you publish each course individually. You cut to trash. Now, somebody asked a while ago, I want to just get rid of the units. You can get rid of those. Let's say, let's go into a course here. I bet I have one. I'm sure there's something. If you want to get rid of anything, like if you've got those unit folders, if you have something old in there, now be careful before you just start deleting things. Oh my gosh, here's a beautiful one. Like this one hasn't been published since 2014. If you want to get rid of this, like I have them in here forever, I can cut, or select, cut, go to the trash. You have to click and then paste. If you learn one thing at all today, you have to click on a folder before you can click paste. And if you forget to paste, you're going to get weird messages. You're going to get weirdness, and you're going to have to log off and log back on, and it's not going to be fun. Select, cut, go to the trash, click on a folder, and paste. It's very critical that you do that. But you can do more than one. All right, I'm going to move on into CTETEKs while we're here and talk about those in particular. I think I already have. Most everybody should have some updated ones. If your TEKs are not updated, that's going to be something that you'll need to do. And it depends on really when's the last time anybody's kind of used it. Have teachers used it in several years? You want to ask some of those questions before you make any big decisions about any of this. Fine arts were updated in 2013. The other thing that was updated in the past was your languages other than English. Let me show you that real quick, just a little tip. There are no more Spanish TEKs or French TEKs or German to anything. There still is American Sign Language. But these right here these are old. Look at those. Those are old. Those don't even exist anymore. They're now generic sets of standards for all of your languages other than English. And then there are specific ones for American Sign Language. So what that means is if languages other than English levels 1 and 2, a Spanish teacher could use that, a German teacher. If you want to make it specific for Spanish and the German, you could have it in there twice. One call it Spanish, the other one call it German, whatever works for your district. You have a lot of flexibility in this. Now, the question is probably there, why can't you do this for us? Why are you making us do 277 courses? Well, first of all, don't do all 277. I'm wondering if there really is a district out there, and there may be, that offers all 277 courses. There may be. If that's the case, I'm sorry. You'll have to update all those. But why can't we? Okay? And I'm going to skip down to this last bullet. If we update your tree for you, what that means is every single course and everything in every single course is replaced. If we go in and remove, it's basically like taking out your tree and giving you a new one to start with. There are lots of reasons why that's may not be the best idea for your district. First of all, it gets rid of any courses that you had created in the past. It wipes out curriculum. So the third step, which we're not going to even get into today, which is the activities, which is all the cool stuff that the teacher lesson plans and the model lesson plans and the resources and all the good stuff that makes Forethought, it's Forethought. That stuff's now, it's not gone, but it's gone. It's not easy to find anymore. It's not linked in a course. The second reason why we can't just update your CTE is because it's all or nothing. It's the whole tree. We don't know what you've done to your tree for us to be able to replace it. We just can't copy and paste it. There's this whole thing called a database and all these standards and these courses. It's yours. We can't just copy and paste it in there. I wish we could, my friends, but we can't. The other thing is that teachers will have to go in and update their lesson planners. So if, let's say, you said, Michelle, we really want to have the new tree. Our teachers are okay with it. Okay, what that means is this course right here, ELAR grade 5, even though a new course, if we put in a whole new tree and it has that course in it, that new course is technically different on the behind the scenes of the database. For example, when this course is created in Forethought, in the database, it gives it a number. Let's say it gives it number 100. When a new course is added, even though it's named the same exact thing, it's going to give it a new number. So it's going to be like 512. When teachers are going to the lesson planner, if course 100 is gone, there's nothing going to show up over here on the right-hand side. And teachers can't copy from the past years if they want to, because it's two separate courses in the mind of Forethought. It doesn't know that it's ELAR grade 5. It just knows that it's 100 versus 512. Updating the course tree is a huge step. It is something that we can do, but you have to be very careful. Some of you know about the TRS tree. If you're using TEKS resource system, we have a tree that is the unit folders of those of the TEKS and the SEs. If we updated it every year as often as TEKS resource system updates their YAGs and all that good stuff, which Region 10 did that for us last year, teachers still have to go in and redo their lesson planners. Now, if there's new TEKS and updated, then that's okay. But there are a lot of repercussions. It's not as easy as it sounds like it might be. So let's see. Let me review this. So the TRS tree, CTE, Joel, this is a good time if there's anything you want to point out or answer.
I'm just going through them.
Okay.
I had to go find that document.
Oh, look at all these look at all these questions, my friends. All right. So let's say, for example, so this is an ugly slide. It's a terrible slide. I get it. But these are all the things that have to happen when you get, like, this is what we make people sign before you get the TRS tree. So the tree has the units. So it's like unit 1 and it has the standards in there. Let's say they redid social studies this year in TRS. We have not updated the tree because they just updated the units. So by the time we have the time to get the new tree updated and then replace yours, you're already past, it just, the timing isn't always perfect. We are only doing the TRS tree because there's been a request. It is not something that we advertise necessarily. Of course, you're all on here learning that. If you're looking at doing the TRS tree, then keep in mind that if you do that, it will get rid of everything that's in there, not lesson plans, all the curriculum that we've been talking about. And it says if it's had any update in their scope and sequence in the YAGs and the VADs or whatever since December 2016, the district is responsible. Because otherwise it's an all or nothing. Now, if you've never used Forethought and you've had Eduphoria 5 years ago, that's a whole different story. If you want to email us at training@eduphoria.net, we'll be happy to look at your tree and kind of figure out where you are. And that's a good decision. It's a big decision to make in my book because you don't want to just go into that lightly. You really need to know, have my teachers been planning? Are they all going to have to go in and reconnect their lesson plans? Which means that they're going to have to go in to change my settings, my schedules, go in and edit their schedule. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't take very long, but it does limit them from copying from the previous course to this quote new course. So, all right. I'm going to go help with the questions, my friends. There is this beautiful page in Online Help that I have created. If you haven't been there, I encourage you to go there. It is in Forethought. Online Help, any page, any screen in Eduphoria in the top right-hand corner. There is this nice there's two wonderful things here. They even have stars next to them under for curriculum. One is about CTE. It's just a review of what is available now. And there is a nice video tutorial. It's a little bit shorter than this webinar that tells you to go in here. What are the steps? Check the new, uncheck the old, click select, click import. Remember, CSI? There's a little bit there. Oh, Joel, maybe we can add that crosswalk here. That'd be good. You can add that there. Then the other article in this here is called Shortcuts to Entering Curriculum. Everything I did plus more things are in here step by step. I tried to make it a little bit more easy to read, but it's difficult sometimes. Make sure your TEKs are correct. There's a video tutorial. Then when we get into if you're actually going to build your curriculum, there's video tutorials for these. These are shorter videos. Here's a whole section on deleting and trash. How do you move things to the trash again? What if I don't have a trash? Oh, there's a video on how to make a trash course. Then there's all kinds of fun stuff down here. Now, the stuff we didn't get to today is pretty much all the stuff at the bottom. Moving your TEKs into units. Activities, that third step. This is like making sure your taco tastes good. It's just not a meat and shell. It's got all kinds of good stuff. This is all the stuff that makes Forethought awesome. And then there's a bonus at the bottom. If you want to add your ELPs to all of your courses, do it this way. Use your video tutorial to help you. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to look at some of the questions. So there's this right here, this page right here, Shortcuts to Entering Curriculum, is going to be probably the best thing for you as you move forward. Because if you forget how to move to the trash, go here. If you forget how to check, select, and import, go here. If you are purchase Eduphoria through your service center, you can contact them for assistance, or you can contact training. If you're really interested in really diving really deeper into this, we can help guide you. If you have some training hours already purchased with us, or if you'd like to purchase some, we can help you one-on-one so it's not so generic. It's specifically about you. Joel, you've done an excellent job on a lot of these questions. This is excellent. If some of those people are still here that are not some of the things we haven't answered, I'll be happy to go back and answer those. Okay.
Did you answer how standards associate with aware?
Oh, good question. Let's go do that. So,
Okay, thank you.
that's good. So, what was that one I used? Let's do, I'm going to just pick a fun one here. Okay.
You might have to be quick. I think we're running out of time.
I know. Well, it's not like we have to be done.
True.
True. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mess this up here. Grade 3. I mean, they just might lose their minds because they're like, what? She just keeps going on and on. Okay, watch. I'm going to check both of these and I'm going to click select. Remember I said that was not a good thing. When I leave this, whatever's checked is what's going to show up in aware. All right, I'm going to go to aware. I got to go really quick here. I'm just going to do a teacher test. Okay. Oh, I don't have a stinking calendar. Oh my gosh, why haven't I done a calendar? All right, when you go to the next step of creating a test, it says pick a course. Let me go to my old assessments. Jeez. Oh, sorry, y'all. Of course, do I have a third one in here? Okay, surely I have something in here. I'm going to change this. It's this right here. So when you go into a test and you've chosen, that's the same thing from the course tree. So I'm going to add a course. Look, there's our recycle bin. Look at all that fancy stuff. I'm going to add that 3rd grade math in here just for kicks. Now, when I go into the questions, let's say I want to add a question. Where did it go? When you go into that question and you go to the standards, remember all those old ones? Oh, look. How do you know which one's which? We have no clue because we have those old ones checked. Now, if you're a 3rd grade teacher and you know your math TEKs, you probably realize, that's not the right one. So don't choose the old ones. Uncheck those old ones because then you get so confused you don't know what's what. But we do know that 3.1a now are the process standard. So hopefully you can see the difference between the old and the new because 3.1a is very different than the old 3.1a. So that's why now if I go back and uncheck the old ones, it'll be right. All right, what else, Joel? This is a good one in the question.
That last one.
Can you add a resource? Yes, that little last thing is kind of fun. The 3rd step in all of this, I'll tell you right now, in the online help, there's these 2 videos on the activities. There's 2 different tutorials for a detailed video. It's long. I talk a lot. And then there's a simple one. I don't talk as long. It's been a long time since I've done any of these. The last step in this is actually adding your activities. So the way you do that is typically, I'm going to show you in these demo courses here. So like here's a 5th grade science. So what we did in this one is not only do we have the course of the folder of TEKs, we actually made some bundles. So it's like making your units. So we made a folder called Bundle 1. We named it Safety and Skills. And then we took and copied them from the big list and put them in under Bundle 1 so that the teachers, when they go in, they're like, oh, I just have to worry about these. Yay. I don't have to scroll through that giant list. Now, we also made this little guy called Resources here under Bundle 1 because we want to give them some resources, and that's the beauty of Forethought. How do I add that? You don't do it here. These are your lettuce and tomatoes and cheese of your taco. There's several ways to do it, but the fastest way is to go to the Scope and Sequence tab. Go to your course. And this is where the fun lies. There's resources. I can right click on here and add a new activity. And now I have this beautiful blank space to put whatever I want here. I can title it. I can put text here. I can put links. I can add attachments. So let's say we have a lab that we're going to do for safety and skills for bundle 1. You just attach it just like you would an attachment. You save it and you publish it. Now, when the teacher goes in, guess what? They have access to that resource. So when I'm as a teacher here, here's a nice one. Oh, this is a beautiful one. So here I go into here to 5th grade science. Look at all those units. Oh, look, Earth, Moon, and Sun resources. Oh, look, here's an actual activity, and I can double click it. You can't see the pop-up, but it came up as a pop-up, and there's a button on there called Using Plans. If I clicked it, it goes straight into my lesson plans. This is the beauty of Forethought. You got to have the basics first. You got to have that shell and the meat before you can you can't just have a lettuce in a shell. So when your question is, can we add these resources regardless of the standard? Yes. In a way you can. You can make your own little guy right here, call it whatever you want, and then everything here down in the bottom, these activities are connected to that individual standard, whether it's a student expectation or not. Can you connect things to student expectations? Absolutely. But what happens when 8C isn't 8C anymore? That's always the fun part. Okie dokie.
What if you're gluten-free and you can't have a taco shell?
Then you have to have something to hold. You have to have a bowl, and you have to eat the bowl. I don't know. I'm not doing a gluten-free taco here today.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of information. I'm sure half the people have jumped off. Oh, no, you're still on there, everyone. You're so sweet. Okay, so just to remember that if you update your standards here, it's not going to, in Forethought, it's not going to affect an old test in Aware. Now, you saw what happened when I went ahead. I immediately clicked that 3rd grade math. I added the old ones. I checked the old ones. It immediately changed what I saw on that 3rd grade math test. Which standards do I pick? So you do have to be a little careful. It's not going to change any of the questions per se. If it's already connected to 3A or 3.1a, it's not going to unconnect to 3.1a. But any new stuff you go in, and if you edit, if you've changed the TEKs, I hope that makes sense. Gosh, I hope that did. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of these old ones. I want to make sure I click select. All right. Okay, somebody, if you're still on, I'll show you how to get rid of your team planners, if you're still on there, because this is actually cool. It's very cool. I'm going to log in. Yeah, I know. It's a good one. Okay, did my principles? It finally changed. It just took a little while. It finally updated. Okay, I'm going to log in as a principal here. You have to be a lesson plan viewer, or no, you have to have the principal role. So in Forethought, you have to have the principal role. So when I go in here, it gives me a lesson plan tab. So I'm at Adams Middle School. I'm the principal. I have all the individual teachers. There's teacher 14. Look, it's exactly what I just saw as that teacher. There's this View Teams button down here. This has always been there, but here's the new thing. If I go in here to this new this team, there's a new button called Manage Team. I can see that these 2 people are on them. I can remove them. If I remove both of those people, then that team planner will disappear from this list. It's technically not deleted, but it's removed from the list. That's one way to do it. So, lesson plans, view teams, click on the team planner, manage team. See, this one's in there, doesn't even have any people on it. So here's what I want to do. I can also go into Aware, because we've built these cool teams in Aware on the Analyze tab. If you're a principal, you have this button called Edit My Teams. Oh, look, very similar. If there's nobody on that team, you can actually delete the team. But notice that these teams are used now for Aware, for team testing, in Forethought, and eventually will be used for Strive. We just have that foundation built. Even can't do anything quite yet in it, but so the same teams are for Aware and Forethought. So you want to be careful, you don't delete them all in Forethought if they're being used for Aware. That's why they actually are never really deleted. They're just marked. So did that help? I hope. Who was asking for that one?
I think so. We had several people ask for that.
All right. Last call for questions. We went over. Oh, well. Anybody?
John Peters says you are excellent. He has said you're awesome, and now he says you're all good. Like, he has commented several times during this. So thank you, John.
John knows that when I trained his staff a long time ago, I hadn't come up with the idea for cut to the trash. We had to delete. It was horrible. And then one day, I remember, I thought, because I do that sometimes in other like Word and PowerPoint. I couldn't get rid of something. I know, John, he says he had to do it all by hand. He cried himself to sleep. I believe that. I'm surprised you didn't like go nutso. So anyway, I would have. Anyway.
Melissa Coop says thank you.
The cut to trash is key. Then you've got your trash and you can just get rid of your trash can. You don't even, Anyway. All right, everyone, we're going to call it a day. Thank you for your time. Hopefully you learned something new. If there's another topic that we didn't cover that you need a webinar for, send us an email. We do have some older emails. We did one this summer on the lesson planner specifically. Didn't we, Joel? I think we did. Paige did.
Webinars? Yeah, did you show them how you redid our webinars?
I didn't. Felicia did because she rocks. Training and webinars. We renamed the webinars, now organized by content, by topic. Way good. So if you go to Forethought webinars, you can see, oh, look, they're today. Back to school. Activities. Oh, look, we did one of the activities. There you go. All right, friends, we're going to call it a day. Thanks, Frankie. I agree. The cut to trash is awesome. It is. That is the best invention I ever came up with. When we ever redo Forethought in the future, we'll have something like that where it's going to be super easy to delete. We have to make it kind of hard for you to delete so you don't delete the important things. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Joel, for your help. I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.